Hello. Thanks for finding the Talking Apron. So, are you someone who wants to make a change in how you feel, your general health, and you want to do it through what you eat, through food, that you actually believe that the human body can take care of itself when it's nourished correctly? Well, you have come to the right place. And for those others, welcome back to the Talking Apron, where we make healthy eating simple, delicious, and we try to make it as stress-free as possible. Stress-free, especially for those of us who are living with diabetes and have to make those choices every time we put something in our mouth, or just for others, you're here because it's information about foods, about the foods we eat, and how it can take care of us. So I'm your host. I forgot to introduce myself. I'm your host, Ann Bernardin, and today we are going to dive into some of that purple power, and it's one of the most underrated vegetables, and that is eggplant. You've got it. So that deep purple beauty isn't just that sidekick in ratatouille. And frankly, I don't even like ratatouille. But eggplant is packed with nutrition, and it is super, super versatile. So go ahead and go grab your apron, put it on, start thinking like that creative cook that you want to be or that you are, and let's get into some of the health benefits, prepping tips, and best ways to cook eggplant without having it turn into a soggy mess. So why does eggplant deserve a spot on your plate? What is it about? What does it have? Well, let's talk about nutrition. Listen for a bit. You know, when I was a high school nutrition teacher, let's compare eggplant to that super talented kid that was pretty darn shy and hung out in the back. One that doesn't need attention, doesn't make a big fuss, but wow, does it have a lot going for it. That is eggplant. Number one, it's high in fiber. 1 cup of cooked eggplant has 2.5 grams of fiber. That is a really good, solid amount. And when we have fiber, what are the benefits of fiber? 1, it helps keep our blood sugar stable. Well, for everybody, don't even wonder if you're not a diabetic. Keeping your blood sugar stable means it has you digest your food slower and better. The other thing that fiber does is it helps with your gut biome. Fiber feeds and exists so our biomes can actually have fuel. The other thing that fiber does is it helps take away waste. And the waste is the fat, the excess cholesterol we may have in our body, or maybe we've been losing weight. We need fiber so all those fat molecules can exit our body. Now, the other thing about eggplant, it's loaded with antioxidants. Antioxidants. That's the oxidized stress. When we're under stress, there's a molecule that goes haywire, and we need antioxidants to kind of clean up that dusty mess in our cells. And that's what the purple power of eggplant does for us. Now, it has the same type of antioxidants that are found in blueberries, and it helps fight inflammation, and it supports our heart health. Now, I said how many grams of fiber it has in it. Well, because it's so high fiber, it also means that it helps lower the carb content. And 1 cup of eggplant has 5 to 6 grams of carbs. And what you want to do, the net carbs, is you'll take, let's say, 6 grams of carbs in a cup. You'll remove 2.5 That brings us to 3.5 carbohydrates per cup of eggplant. And as you can see, because it is a carb, it has only 20 calories per cup. And you take that 3.5, you multiply it by 6, because there are 6 calories per gram of carbohydrate. Now, the other thing that eggplant does, it supports our brain health. It has this important compound, and it helps protect our brain cells from some of that oxidative stress. So eating it might just keep you sharper longer. Don't we want that? So that's pretty impressive for a veggie that so many people overlook, right? Now, how do you figure out what eggplant to buy when you're in the grocery store? And then how do you store them? What do you do with eggplants? So first up, let's head to the grocery store. Or we're in your backyard. It's at the end of the summer and you are picking your eggplant. So let's take a look, and what do we choose? First, you want to look for that firm, shiny skin. No wrinkles, no brown spots. It should feel heavy for its size, because light eggplant might be old or they're dried out inside. So you want it to have a good, firm weight. Then you're going to press it gently. If it bounces back, it's fresh. If it leaves an indent, it's past its prime. So that's how you actually purchase. Now, if you're picking it from your garden, you're going to know that it's fresh. So the best way to store eggplant is by keeping it in a cool, dry place, or in the crisper drawer in your refrigerator. And here's what I learned the hard way. Don't wait too long to use it, because eggplant gets bitter the older it gets. So plan to prepare your eggplant that you've purchased close to the day that you've bought it and brought it home. Don't have it for a week or two. I generally go grocery shopping one big a week, and then the off week I'll fill up on those veggies that are a little bit more sensitive that I need to fill in the blanks for. So let's talk about, how do we cook eggplant? What do we do to prep it? Now, a lot of people complain that eggplant is bitter, and like I said, the older the eggplant is, it does end up being bitter. And when we cook it, it can absorb too much oil. So what is the solution? And the solution is salting. That's right. The first thing you want to do is slice or cube the eggplant. Then you're going to be sprinkling salt on both sides and let it sit for about 30 minutes. So that'll be the first thing you do. Then pull out all the other ingredients and the fry pan or the saute pan that you need. That salt is going to draw out all that excess moisture, and it's going to reduce that bitterness. And we definitely want that. The next thing we're going to do, the step 3, is we are going to be rinsing all that salt off, and we're going to pat it dry before we're cooking. This simple trick makes all the difference. So now, how are we going to cook this eggplant? And I don't know if you can see it, but my little dog Finley is coming up to sit next to me. You probably heard her shaking just a little bit ago. But if you do, who you see as my sidekick, her name is Finley. Now, how do we cook eggplant the right way? Well, this is the fun part. Eggplant is a total sponge. Now, I did talk about how much oil it absorbs, so we have to be careful on that. But it soaks up all the flavors we add to it beautifully. So let's go through the best ways to cook eggplant without turning it into that oil slick. So roasting, we're going to preheat the oven to 400. We're going to slice that eggplant into rounds or cubes. We're going to salt it. We're going to leave it for half an hour. We're going to rinse it, and then we're going to pat dry. Then we're going to toss it. And in one of the last episodes, I tossed about using a plastic bag to put in, and then put your olive oil, salt, and pepper. You close up the bag, you shake it like you have a balloon, shake it all up, and you're going to spread it on a baking sheet. Now, the baking sheet can have parchment paper. If you're like me, I don't like a muss and fuss of cleaning baking sheets, but depends if you have parchment paper or not. You're going to put it on that nice baking sheet, and you're going to roast it for 25 to 30 minutes. Yes, take a look at the halfway mark at about 15 to 20 minutes. Take a spatula, flip it over. I sometimes do the shake the pan method, and that roasted eggplant is perfect to eat as a side dish, for your salads, for some grain bowls, or even just for snacking. All right, the next way for us to cook eggplant is simple sauteing. You're going to have that nonstick pan over medium heat with just a tiny bit of oil. Remember, every time we put oil in, it's going to disappear because that eggplant's a sponge. And let's not go add so many more calories. So we're just going to put a bit oil in it. You're going to add in your chopped or your cubed eggplant. Now, do the same thing. Always do the salt method. You're going to add a splash of broth or water to help it cook without the extra oil. And then you're going to finish with a little garlic or onion, tomatoes, balsamic vinegar, and you're going to let it simmer just for a little bit. And there you have it, a flavorful eggplant side dish. Now the next one, with the warmer weather coming, we know people are already wanting to bring out their grills. We're going to prep it the same way. We're going to slice up the eggplant ahead of time, have a nice thick steak. If you can see my fingers, they're pinched about an inch. Do salt them, rinse them, pat them down, brush them lightly with olive oil on both sides, sprinkle with salt and pepper, put on your favorite seasoning, whether it be Italian or Mrs. Dash, whatever it is, and you're going to grill 3 to 4 minutes on pretty high on both sides. Then you've got a really tasty slice of eggplant that you can either use in a sandwich, put in a salad, put it in with your protein, make a wrap, or it makes an extra flavorful eggplant parmesan when it is grilled. The flavor just pops out. Now, eggplant has a meaty texture, and eggplant does have a bit of protein in it, but it's a great substitute for that umami, thicker flavor. So you can make, like I said, an eggplant parmesan, or put it in thin strips, and it can be like a bacon when you season it with the salt and pepper. And even that eggplant lasagna that I talked about. Oops, I meant eggplant parmesan also, when you bread and you put it in egg and you have cheese on top. Now, if you are feeling adventuresome and you're not quite sure you want to try, if you're not someone who has eaten eggplant, there is a ready-made dish. Usually you can find it where the hummus is, and it's called baba ganoush. It is a smoky, creamy eggplant dip, and it is perfect for veggies or to put on a pita chip, something like that. So if you want to try out a flavorful eggplant without actually buying it, try to look for that. And again, it's called baba Ganoush. All right, now, as we wrap up our discussion, there's no discussing here, me telling you about eggplant, we found out a bunch of stuff to love about it. And hopefully I've convinced you that this vegetable has some power so you can add it into your diet and give it a shot. So whether you roast it, grill it, saute it, it's easy, delicious, and it's a way to add more vegetables to your diet, that fiber, those antioxidants, and give you a little bit of a different flavor. So go ahead and try it. Try one of those recipes. I'd love to hear how it goes. Share your thoughts in the Talking Apron Facebook page. And don't forget to subscribe. And when you subscribe, you'll be getting more tips and tricks and how to make healthy eating simple. Don't forget to find me on YouTube at the Talking Apron, Ann Bernardin. I've been posting different videos on simple kitchen tips and tricks. So again, thanks for showing up and hanging out with me today. And until next time, keep your apron on and your meals stress-free.